I'm genuinely curious. How many hours I've spent watching a video game character climb. I mean, what's even the ballpark? Is it 5 hours, 10, 20? Now cutscenes, they just transform the medium into a more passive entertainment one, like a movie or a TV show. And a QuickTime event's just a glorified cutscene. It's like that screen asking you, are you still watching on Netflix? But climbing, it's not that active. It's probably the next rung below that. You're holding up on the analog stick for like 3 minutes or left or right to shimmy. And if you're lucky, you get to press X a few times to jump. Whew. But what is playing? What is a game? Oh, let's talk about climbing in video games. I gotta get out of here. Okay, I'm back. Now, I could go and recount the entire history of platforming in video games. You know, Pitfall, Mario, Prince of Persia. But the core of this video is more about the modern 3D cookie cutter evolution of it, and specifically climbing. Kind of started, I think, in the PS3 generation. PS2 had some 3D platformers, but the climbing mechanic itself is definitely more recent. And there are two obvious games that use climbing as a core mechanic. The PlayStation first party is more recently egregious with it, so that's the focus of the video, but I'll touch on the most obvious third-party one. We all know it, Assassin's Creed. It came out merely a week before Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, and they both have similar approaches to climbing. I mean, Altair is a human, and the gameplay is about climbing, and it's a huge part of it. And they do it pretty well, especially because at the time, not every single game had this exact type of gameplay, but I don't know if it was just the wrong time in my life, but I found Assassin's Creed a snooze fest. I gave up after number 2. I don't know, maybe I need to give it another try. For Uncharted, Nathan Drake, he's incapable of leaping tall cliffs in a single bound. He's 100% corporeal Homo sapien, despite being a bullet sponge and, you know, somehow surviving the most insane action set pieces. But for a plundering explorer in the jungle, you're gonna have to climb quite a bit. Aloy from Horizon, she's human, so it's logical, again, that she would need to climb, especially in these derelict, unpowered, ancient ruins. But I felt like, I don't know if it's just me, I was constantly climbing everything, and she couldn't even shut up about telling the player exactly where to go or how to solve the puzzle immediately when you get there.
I think I'm back in range of the vista point. I could try to find where the image was taken. I better keep following the trail up. I think I can reach those beams if I jump against the cliff. Okay, now how to climb higher. I might be able to make the jump to the other side.
The grapple hook was a nice addition, but it was a little disappointing when you could only grapple to a very specific grapple point and not any ledge or handhold. And it's just like, oh, so it's just when you want me to, not when I want to? That would have sped up the vertical navigation significantly, and I understand the complexity of unlimited freedom of navigation, but it would have been cool. There's some use of climbing as navigation in stealth combat, but I rarely ever did that because I just like using the weapons immediately, and I'd rather do that than crouch in a bush in a game like that. I actually kind of like the guiding lines when you scan the mountains with your focus. You know, that's cool. It's like, it's very simplistic, minimalist style, but it tells you what you can do. Guerrilla did an amazing job making a third-person game, especially after coming from a long line of FPSs. Spider-Man also has climbing in it. Obviously, he's superhuman, but in the games you can climb or even run up the walls quickly, and in a way unlike most games, you know. Certain games like Hulk Ultimate Destruction or Prototype series, they do this as well, and it makes navigation like powerful and fast and fun. And honestly, Sucker Punch games like Infamous, Sly Cooper, and Ghost of Tsushima are really well crafted to make the more human-restricted navigation fun and fluid. Jin Sakai has grace when he's jumping to all the ledges and stuff, and he's fast, he has a grappling hook, and climbing is also not just shoehorned into the combat, it's a core part of stealth combat, which is actually encouraged in the game, which I love. It's not a crutch, it's not hiding a loading screen, it's useful, and it gives the player freedom rather than taking it away. Infamous also has a little more dynamic action to the climbing, like gliding or using your abilities to like dash forward and propel yourself further. And I actually kind of prefer pressing X a lot to jump or vault over things because it's more active at least than holding the stick forward for 3 minutes. That's just me though. Now we get to the biggest offender. Kratos, the god of war, another non-human character with unimaginable power and strength, who can fall from the stars without injury, and who can launch into the air and battle with the gods, but is forced to climb every cliff and mountain like he's Nathan Drake. Spoilers for Ragnarok right now, so time code will be here to skip ahead. Okay. It's funny to see this kind of addressed, where Thor just picks up Atreus and jumps to the next area with him. Like, I understand that in 2018 God of War, Kratos didn't want to reveal his true nature to Atreus for most of the game. In Ragnarok, that's gone, so why is he forced to navigate the same way? I get, maybe he can't jump like all the other gods, but like, he can't use his chaos blades like he does all the time, or he can't just punch through that pillar. I mean, the rest of the gods do that. I mean, I understand that some of these things are required to make the old hardware able to run this game and load in between. And don't get me wrong, I love the long moments of exploring the world with the characters as they talk, banter, and they learn about each other. It's great dialogue, beautifully written. There's some of the best character moments in the game, but there's gotta be a better, more streamlined way to use these gameplay elements. I mean, I think all that climbing and stuff, it kind of diminishes like some beautiful, impactful, cool moments in the game where climbing is necessary. Like when Atreus has to climb the wall of Asgard. It's an awesome part. I mean, so cool. And my hands even got a little clammy while playing it because it's freaky. But it would have been more impactful if I didn't spend half the game already climbing everything else as Kratos. Like, he should be able to either jump or at least do the instant grapple with the Chaos Blades a lot more frequently to cut these corners. I mean, I have no problem with a bit of shimmying and climbing and lifting of pillars to load some stuff, but the core mechanics of most of these games is navigation by just holding the stick forward and doing nothing else. To end this on a high note, let's talk about a game where climbing is one of the core mechanics and done incredibly beautifully. Death Stranding is practically all about movement and navigation. Sure, there's combat and all that, but other than bosses, I'm pretty sure it's entirely optional. 90% of this game is just movement through the environment. Sam Porter Bridges is another human character, but instead of ripping the controls away and forcing the player to hold the stick in a single direction, or even climbing the same handholds the same exact way, this game makes climbing and hiking and movement an active process. It incorporates balance, physics, environmental resistance, steepness. Similar to Horizon, especially because they're both using Decima Engine, you can scan the terrain and see the steepness and the resistance and the topography. It's a great guide that doesn't intrude or interfere or stay on screen way too long. You know, it gives you the pleasure of still being able to enjoy the beautiful world that Kojima Productions created. It's like a very satisfying, almost puzzle-like system to trying to fit all the cargo on your back and sometimes in your hands, you know, to try and get the most reward when you deliver it, but also not making it impossible to, you know, navigate the terrain ahead. I adore this game. And it's an incredible feat to have crafted such a unique experience and the way it all works together. It's just so beautiful. And I'm thankful for all the innovative gameplay design choices that developers explore. Movement in games is pretty much the #1 gameplay element. I mean, whether you're piloting a ship, guiding a falling block, or controlling a humanoid character, the navigation through that game is the first thing you do when you play. It's integral to the medium. In the past 15 years or so, though, certain systems of movement are just stagnant and so similar. Like, yeah, a lot of FPSs play the same, but Doom plays different than Call of Duty. And the stagnant movement system kind of drags down otherwise exceptional games. And maybe some people might find walking and running too boring in games because you do it a lot, but climbing is refreshing to them. But I much prefer a tight, fast, on-foot navigation system, since you're doing it the most, to a cookie-cutter rock climbing system that relinquishes player agency most of the time. And grappling hooks are a nice middle ground, don't get me wrong. You know, they achieve a faster way of climbing sometimes, but not all games have them or need them or implement them in a good way either. It's a weird complaint, I know, but it's just a pattern I've been noticing, especially in the PlayStation first-party games. I know the developers are always working hard to try and innovate, and these games are incredible. They're exceptional works of art and in storytelling and gameplay. I'm only complaining because these games mean a lot to me and I love them. They're some of the most memorable video game experiences to me, and I'm always in awe at the quality of the PlayStation first-party family. I wouldn't bring these up if I hated these games. I don't think criticizing things just to be negative is very productive. I just want these games to be even better and more unique from the rest of their other family members. Thank you for watching. Let's keep gaming. I appreciate all the hard work that the developers do to make this medium so special and fun. I don't know where I'd be without video games, so I can't bag on them too much. And I'm thankful for you giving me your attention. I appreciate it. Let's keep playing games and enjoying this beautiful medium that we got here. Thank you to all the developers that make these games. It is a incredible feat what you guys do, and I'm appreciative of it every time I play a game. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.